Super Mario Bros., one of the greatest video games of all time. After its release in 1985, Nintendo put out a secret sequel that nobody knows about. It was only on PCs in Japan, and it was called Super Mario Bros. Special.
Nintendo is much more than that. Nintendo is, well, almost the most fun a kid can have.
Mario and Luigi are Nintendo's superstar characters.
It may be the most addictive toy in history, and it's definitely the hottest thing this Christmas. Nintendo video games.
Now, what's Nintendo, you ask, and why should you care? Well, I think it's something you should know about because it's captured America's children.
This is as big or bigger than anything the toy industry has ever seen. I'll give you one comparison. Barbie, which is an institution, does about $500 million a year. Nintendo does over 3 times as much.
Super Mario Bros. Was an instant success when it was released in Japan on September 13th, 1985, and later in America on October 18th of the same year. You could say that it took both nations by storm when it was released. The game itself has sold 40 million copies and helped pull North America's video game industry out of the video game crash in 1983. Mere months after Super Mario Bros. Was released in North America, Nintendo of America went crazy on advertising Mario. There was merchandise, cereal, TV shows, and even movies being released, making millions of dollars. As Nintendo began to become a household name in North America, however, Nintendo Japan was already working on the next big Mario game, Super Mario Bros. 2, which is better known as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels.
Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels is the Famicom sequel that came out on June 3rd, 1986. It used the same engine as the original Super Mario Bros., which means that most assets were reused from the original. But now, the levels are more difficult, adding traps such as poisonous mushrooms, mid-air wind gusts, counterproductive level warps, and even invisible blocks.
When Nintendo of America got the Lost Levels, however, Howard Phillips, the former spokesperson at Nintendo of America, deemed it too hard for the American audience, thinking that they would just shut the game immediately and not play Mario anymore. So, instead, Miyamoto and his team sent Phillips a previous game that they had worked on, which later became the US Super Mario Bros. 2 we have today.
Super Mario Bros. 2 is the American sequel that came out in North America on October 9th, 1988. It was known for adding new elements such as 2 new playable characters, brand new levels, and last but not least, screen scrolling in a horizontal and vertical direction. This game, however, is a reskin game from Japan called Doki Doki Panic, since Howard Phillips, as stated before, did not like the difficulty of the lost levels.
However, there's a sequel that nobody knows about. Even though it was developed by the greatest producers that Nintendo's ever had, it was only for computers in Japan, and it was called Super Mario Bros. Special was developed and published by the game company Hudson Soft, who is known for making their early games in the Bomberman series and the Mario Party series. Special was released through the NEC, PC, 8801, and Sharp X1 computers, and was published mere months after The Lost Levels, with the release date sometime in August of 1986. Unlike the other two sequels, Special adds more enemies to the Super Mario series. There are 5 new enemies in total, which are Sidestepper, Fighterfly, Icicle, Fire, and Barrel. As for new power-ups, the hammer item from Donkey Kong is used to destroy the barrels at some boss levels. In addition, there is a clock, an atom, and the Hudson Bee icon. The clock adds an additional 100 seconds to the timer, and the atom and Hudson Bee give you 1,000 points each and are well hidden throughout the levels. As for gameplay, the timer in the game is faster than how it runs in its Famicom predecessor. In addition, the game plays in either joystick or keyboard style, and depending on how you have the settings to run the game, it can either be really easy to play or extremely difficult. Their appearance in the game, since Special was made for inferior hardware to the Famicom, shows how different the game is from Super Mario Bros. The PC-88 version only uses half the hardware's palette, restricted to only black, red, yellow, and blue colors. The Sharp version uses more colors, which makes the game look much better and closer to its Famicom predecessor. The sound in each version, although close to replicate Super Mario Bros., does not give its precursor justice. So, why is this game so forgotten? Why did Nintendo never acknowledge this game? Well, for starters, Nintendo was trying to push The Lost Levels as the best sequel out there. The Lost Levels was much harder and much more intensive to play, which made Special look like a kid's toy. Probably the most important reason why it never got attention outside of Japan, however, was because Nintendo wanted all of its audience to stay on their consoles, since Nintendo was already raking in money from Super Mario Bros. And the rest of their series. And that is Super Mario Bros. Special. Even though the game is really fun to play, it's really hard to come by and forgettable. And Nintendo, just like Mario's other PC games, are most likely going to forget this game and never bring it up again.